Today we are going to review how to comp a property, more specifically, how to comp a property in Philadelphia. Comping properties is the same thing as looking at nearby values of other properties to try to figure out how much one of these properties that you're looking at is worth. Maybe you're thinking about buying a property and you're trying to figure out how much you should offer, or it's your own property. And you got to figure out, man, how much am I going to sell this thing for? What should I list it for? If I'm selling it off the market, on the market, how should I price this property if I'm selling it, or how much should I offer if I'm trying to buy it? Basically, we're going to review how to figure out the value of a property today. So I chose the subject property 3112 North Taylor Street. Chose this one in Philadelphia because me and my partner just bought this last year. So it'll be a fun one to dive into. I already know it's a single family, so it'll keep it a little more straightforward, less complicated. We're not getting into duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, things like that. Commercial, it's just straight residential, easy to do and calculate, so that you can use the same method and strategy going forward when you comp other properties. So this will vary per market, but in Philadelphia, there are a few different tools that you can use. So this is access to the MLS. As an agent, you do have access to the MLS, which I do. So we'll use the MLS. If you don't have access to the MLS, you can use Zillow. It has a lot of the same information on it. Obviously, the MLS is a little more accurate and has more info. It's easier to search, things like that. But Zillow, you can get by using just Zillow or Redfin, one of those websites and resources online. In Philly, we also have the property search website. This is a public free website that you can use in Philly to look up for information about any property in the entire city. Most of them are on there. They should all actually be on here. I think some are actually missing. Not every website's perfect, and the city has a lot going on all the time. So most properties are in here. And then you can use Google Maps as well, which we like to use. Street View is a common one that we'll use just to check out how a property looks before, if we're trying to buy it versus selling it if we already own it. So let's pretend that this is our property, right? And we just want to look up information on it. So Brotherly Love Real Estate is our LLC. And all right, you'll want to jump here and say, all right, property was sold here and it was sold for that much. So this information is important if you are trying to buy a property, right? So then all right, it was last purchased by the current owner in July of 2019, and this is how much they paid for it. That's public information in Philadelphia, important to know when going into buying a property. Also good things to know, the square footage, which is listed right here, so it's 1,350 square feet. And usually on Zillow, it will tell you if it's a single family, duplex, triplex, all that stuff. But let's pop it into here. We'll jump here, take the address, pop it into the MLS, and we can keep actives there, but you want to put on closed. So what I just did, we are in the residential sale, single family home, residential property search on the MLS. So this will pull all of the properties that have been sold on the market in the past year's time, and all the properties that are currently active within, again, you get to set this, a certain mile radius of the property. So what we usually try to do, and what I recommend, is start as close by as you can. So we start with 0.1 mile radius from the property that you're trying to figure out the value for. So we have the property address in there. We have all that are currently on the market, as well as properties that were sold in the past year. As you can see, there are 10 matches between these two criteria if you click one off. So there's only one that's active, and most of them are sold. That's a good thing. It really helps when trying to comp properties and figure out the value of your property. Let's say you're a seller trying to sell it. It really, really helps to base what you think the property's worth off of what other nearby properties have sold. It's not a perfect science, but it does help out a lot. So on the MLS here in Philly, you can check out all the closed. You can do that in a list version, or you can also do the map, which is what we like to use a little bit better. Boom. So you can zoom in here, and this was the actual sale of the property. So it sold. It said propertyphila.gov said we bought it for $40. MLS has it at 42. We'll call it 42. But all the information is on here. So since we bought it within the past year, that is still in our search criteria. And for reference, say you're trying to buy a property, right? And you don't know the specs of it, meaning the size of everything. You can go on here and it says 3-bed, 1 bath, 1,320. And remember, property.phil.gov said, there we go, 1,320. So we can jump here and say 3-bed, 1 bath, single family home, 1,320 square feet. Bought in July 2019 for, we'll call it $42,000. Specs, all that information that I just put there. You can call that specs, property information, same difference. All right, now we want to see how much this thing is worth. So we'll jump here, boom, click out, and again, we want to use the closest nearby properties that are similar in size. So there's a 3-bed, 1 bath. There's a 4-bed, 1 bath, 3-bed, 2 bath, 3-bed, 1 bath. So it looks like we got a lot of good ones to work with that are all very close by. This one's right across the street, a stone's throw away. Let's check it out. So this looks like it was 2 properties. No pictures. So it's two actual properties next to each other. So this might not be a great example. Number one, because there's no photos, so we can't compare it to ours. And number two, since it's 2 properties. So let's scrap that one, move on. Boom, nice and close by. All right, so we see this was sold. It's a 3-bed, 1 bath. Only 932 square feet. So this is something that you want to pay attention to, whether you're using Zillow, Redfin, whatever tool to comp properties. It's very, very important that you look at the size. So this one's obviously almost 400 square feet smaller than the Taylor Street property. So this property should theoretically be worth less based on that, depending on a few other factors. You'll scroll through, look at the condition. This one looks a little dated. Definitely needs some renovations and repairs for part of it. And that gives you a pretty good idea there too. So this one again sold for $32,000. And it makes sense why our property, we bought it for $42,000, since it's a couple hundred square feet larger than this one. And if we look at the photos, oops, let's click in there. This does not like me. Come on. There we go. Okay, just so you have some reference. So definitely not new when we bought it, but not bad condition. We didn't have to put too much into it. I think we ended up renovating it for maybe $25,000. Not too much. And it's a smaller place. It's only a single family home, so we're able to get away with decent renovation costs. But that gives you a feel of not brand new, but not a shell property, so it's not totally torn down or anything like that. It's not in disarray. It's livable, but it's not brand new. So it's right in the middle, I'd say, in terms of condition. So something to consider. So again, we know it's at least worth more than that, we're going to assume, since that one is smaller, worse condition, and sold for $32,000. I'm just scanning over some of the prices here. Let's look at this one. 3-bed, 2 bath. So this is a good brand new comp to base your numbers off of. So, ours, when we looked at the picture of ours here on Taylor Street, it's not brand new. It's livable, but it's nothing like this. This one has some great finishes, awesome new wooden floors, ceiling fan, new paint. Looks very, very nice. This is turnkey. We'd call this a really good condition. And then it's a 3-bed, 1 bath, so same there. And it's only about 200 square feet smaller. So it's still a little smaller, but way nicer. So that's why this one sold for $106,000. So this is a good comp for saying, all right, if I decided to fix this property up, Taylor Street, and then sell it, it could be worth at least $106,000 because this one is brand new, but it's a bit smaller. So that's a good brand new comp. to base your numbers off of. Let's see if we can find any shell properties. I think these are all fairly well done. Here's another 3-bed, 1-bath. Again, 200 square feet smaller. Not as new as the last one, and sold for 72. So again, a good indicator that if this was fully fixed up and brand new, the Taylor Street property, it could sell for at least, I'd say at least that 106, but maybe even higher since it's smaller than this one as well. And again, this is just a simple way to comp properties. I can't find a good example of one that's in shambles, but it's not bad practice to also find a property that is in total disarray and needs a ton of repairs. So you have your worst end of the spectrum in terms of condition, your middle ground, which our middle ground is like this one and that one that we looked at condition wise, maybe even that one, and then the brand new is upwards of this. So I'd say maybe this brand new, since it's about 200 square feet bigger, it could be maybe 115, 120, maybe even 125, depending on the finishes and the work done to this property. And that's how to comp properties and just get a good feel for, okay, my property is worth this at its current condition and current state, but if I fix it up, it could be worth X, Y, and Z. Again, use your resources. There's lots of online tools, Zillow, Redfin. You can do a lot of the same stuff you can on the MLS. We didn't look at this one. This is a current active property. Doesn't tell us as much. See, there's not even pictures there. Going for 45,000, 3-bed. Not a lot of info there. Not a good example. But again, that's the tough part about comping properties. You have to look at everything, consider all the factors, and then decide from there what you think you could sell your property for, or if you're buying, what you think you can buy for.